Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We are live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan are here with me. Thank you to you for joining us every weekday from 4 o'clock, and there are many people near and far who choose to watch the programme at their leisure at their favourite time. So wherever you are across the globe, we are delighted that you're tuning in to us in great numbers, especially on YouTube as we've moved here exclusively, and on our podcast and the app which you are downloading in great numbers as well. If you download the app, all you have to do is kick onto the app and hit submissions, and you can actually post a message to us as well. It has all the breaking stories in world football on it, regularly updated as well. So if you want to keep up to date, then download the PLZ Soccer app. Lots to talk about, lots of messages to read out as well from the UK and abroad. And Rangers against Brøndby is our first port of call. It's European football. After Celtic's heroics against Ferencvaros, we're keeping our fingers crossed that Rangers can get a positive result against Brøndby and come off the foot of the table, Ruffy, which tonight has got to be a result which kickstarts their European campaign.
Yeah, we've said all along, you've got to win your home games. This is a big game for the players and the manager. The support will be right behind them. I think it'll be another good European night. I think they'll win quite comfortably. And then they can build on that. But they haven't lived up to the expectations of what they've been doing in Europe last year. And it was a hard one to follow, I think, because they were absolutely outstanding, particularly away from home. So a win tonight would be great. And I'd just like to add, it's great that our teams are in Europe. I was in Glasgow the day, and a lot of Brøndby supporters in the city. And everybody's getting a wee turn, which I think is fantastic for the whole place.
Yep, good shout. Yeah, which is something we missed, Tam, is fans going...
I'd forgotten about that, you know, you do forget that, and you're right, for all the restaurants and pubs that took an absolute hammering. You know, if you get folk who are from nations that are known for enjoying a drink, and the Brøndby fans fit into that category, brilliant. But I would just remind the Rangers fans, nothing to do with the football, you know, mind the old Long Johns tonight. This might be the first Long John game of the season, because it's absolutely Baltic out there now, you know. But I've got a feeling Rangers will win the night. I fancied Celtic the other night, and you were saying heroics though, but they've got to be winning games like that, you would imagine, though, you know.
Well, against a team actually that battered them last year.
Well, I know, but you know, if they've got anything, if they've got to do anything under Big Ange, I thought they've got to be beating a team like that at home, when it is the Europa League, of course, now. But no, I would quietly fancy Rangers tonight. Yeah. As I always say though, and I say this about Motherwell as well, so nothing against Rangers or their fans. For me, watching it tonight, I would like Brøndby to score first, because it makes it a bit, you know what I mean by that? Now I say that to my pals at the third party, we're playing a so-called smaller team. There's no many smaller than Motherwell. Cup games, let's say, I always like the idea of the away team getting the first goal, and it just picks everybody up, you know.
Well, I was just thinking, maybe you should become a Manchester United fan, Tam. Just to give yourself a wee bit of excitement in life. Anyway, Tam's absolutely right, because as soon as I got out this morning on the school run, Ruffy, I thought, time for a jacket, time to get the old heater on quickly in the car, and that
not even get any kids.
No, exactly. No.
Lollipop man.
I'm just
that's
about
something you could do, Ruffy. You're always, I mean, I know he's getting modelling recently, you know what I mean? He's, I'm going to die. Every day that I know is dying. But you know what? The fresh air out in that lovely chill. Lollipop man. But imagine Alan Ruff as the Lollipop man. That would be amazing.
It would be fantastic on the days that he turned up. It would be brilliant for the kids just on those odd days that he turned up. Not so good for the teachers crossing the road, but nevertheless, the advice from Tam Cowan is get your long johns on.
Oh, get them on, boys.
And I think...
I had a bad experience at Dundee.
We'll come back to your experience. Hey, wait a minute, don't tell him, because Gabriel's out there at Ibrox, and I'm not even sure he has long johns on, so shut up till we actually speak to him. Gabriel...
Even if short johns. They mean trendy short johns.
Gabriel's wearing shorts just above his socks. Gabriel, it's freezing out there at Ibrox, but you're taking one for the team. Ruffy says it's a big game. How big is it?
Yeah, well, first things first, the socks are certainly on this evening. It's really chilly already. There's a few fans starting to gather. Still about 4 hours till kickoff, but yeah, a huge game here in Govan on the south side of Glasgow. It's a must-win for Rangers. It's that simple. They have 0 points. It's the same task that Celtic had 2 days ago. And Stephen Gerrard has highlighted the fact that they must win the head-to-head against Brøndby. Of course, they'll face the Danish side away from home in 2 weeks' time. He wants to do that with at least 4 points, but ideally it would be 6 points, starting with a result that could kickstart their campaign this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this is what Steven Gerrard said on the game, because quite simply, the Rangers manager knows it could be win or bust.
Having lost the first 2 games, I think it's very important that we win this head-to-head over the next 2 games. We have to take a minimum of 4 points. Ideally, we take 6. So tomorrow we need a performance and a result that's going to try and kickstart our Europa League campaign. I don't think our 2 performances have been miles away, but it's a results business, and to get out of the group you need results, so we're well aware of that. If that adds a little bit more pressure going into tomorrow's game, and people on the outside want to make it a must-win game, we're okay with that.
Yeah, what about the form, Gabriel? I mean, it's not been great.
No, their form hasn't been great. They've only won 3 of their last 7. They are still top of the league. I would caveat that by saying the first 45 minutes here on Saturday against Hearts were probably the best they've played all season, zipping the ball about. They should have scored more. It's almost typified by Alfredo Morelos at the moment. He's got 5 goals in his 15 games so far this campaign, and it's not up to his usual standards. Same way that Rangers haven't been up to their usual standards. Morelos is needing goals. He missed 2 against Hearts, real good chances. Steven Gerrard said yesterday that he wants Morelos to start hitting the back of the net a little bit more.
5 and 15 is not enough for me. Not just from him. I think we need to score more goals. All our strikers, we're at Rangers here. The chances we're creating, I'd expect the guy who's played the majority of the minutes as a number 9 to have more than 5 and 15. So they're stats that we need to improve on moving forward.
About that. What about his predicted lineup, Gabriel? I mean, what do you think is going to be his tried and trusted tonight to get all 3 points?
Well, Alan McGregor made a clanger here on Saturday. It cost them 3 points, but we expect he will go in goal. This is what we think the lineup will be. Captain James Tavernier at right back. Connor Goldson stalling over contract talks, but he'll start in the centre of defence, likely with Leon Balogun. Barisic on the left-hand side of defence. John Lundstrom, really impressive against Hearts at the weekend, and he has probably been Rangers' best player over the last month. Stephen Davis going with experience in the middle, and Joe Aribo. And then it will come too soon for Ryan Kent to return to the lineup. So you've got Yanis Hadji, Kemar Roof, and Alfred Morelos, who is just 1 goal shy of 100 goals for Rangers. And he is, of course, as well, their record European scorer. It will be a perfect game for him to get number 100.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gabriel, Tam says he spotted more than a few Danes in the city, so the Brøndby fans will be coming here and not only enjoying the hospitality, but looking forward to an exciting game and see if they can kickstart their season with a little bit better than the 1 point that they have already. Of course, though, Gabriel, what they'll be amazed at is it's not £12 a pint, so I think they'll be already kegged up before they get anywhere near you.
Yeah, they'll be delighted with half-price pints. They'll be thinking, walking over the Clyde Bridge from town. But yeah, Brøndby, they started the season really slowly. They've started to pick up. They've won 3 of their last 5, but they are still in 6th place in the Danish Superliga. They, of course, won the Danish League last season. They got into the Champions League playoff automatically, lost to RB Salzburg, dropped down into the Europa League group stages. Incidentally, their debut in this competition, they do have 1 more point than Rangers with that draw on the opening day against Sparta Prague. In terms of players, well, they used to churn out top stars like the Laudrup brothers. Schmeichel, that's where he was before he moved to Man United back in the 90s. Even recent Denmark players like Pierre-Emil Højbjerg and Andreas Christensen now at Chelsea. But at the moment, the goal-scoring burden falls on Mikael Ure. He has no problem with finding the back of the net, so watch out for him. But Brøndby fans coming here in jovial mood. They'll be hoping for a result. If they win as well, they'll be on 4. They could still make the knockout stages. But yeah, it's all teeing up for a cracking atmosphere and a cracking game at Ibrox.
And the last one for you, so we can let you head in there, Gabriel. What do you think is going to happen? Give us your prediction.
Well, I am confident with Rangers. I think that first 45 minutes against Hearts on Saturday will give them big encouragement. I like the 4-2-3-1 that they were playing then. Perhaps they will go for that again. I'm going to go 2-0 Rangers, Kemar Roof to score the double. And That can be backed up by the fact that Rangers have won 7 of their 8 games against Danish opposition ever.
Yeah, fingers crossed they get the result. Gabriel there looking slightly the worse for wear. Ruffy, the legs are aching after playing 7-a-sides yesterday. 5 matches and in the end, in fact 6 matches, and in the end a 24-year-old with aches and pains. That's just not possible. I can't ever remember feeling tired at 24.
No, neither can I, but it's a lifestyle you lead. That's it. You're never going to last at all.
Absolutely. I don't think he needs to take any lessons in lifestyle from you at 24.
If he's going to be on camera when it's as windy as that, I've got 2 words for him: Turkish barber.
Yes. if Gabriel gets your hair, Gabriel, don't get the haircut that Tam. I wish you could see Tam's haircut, Gabriel. All I would ask you to do is when you get home tonight, watch Papillon, the movie.
Or Tenko.
Yeah, or Tenko. That's exactly what Tam looks like.
And it's great. The boys are great, meticulous, and you just say number 2 at the top and number 1 at the sides and back.
Wow,
that's
brilliant.
Excellent.
I don't think Gabriel will go for that, but nevertheless, he's been in top form at the footy as well. Let's hope you can hear from Gabriel tonight on Facebook as ever and Twitter. He'll give us an update on the game itself and a full-time analysis from the match, Rangers against Brøndby. Good stuff. Gabriel out there at Ibrox. Just one other little footnote that I have to mention, Ruffy, is Steven Gerrard's name is consistently being linked with the Newcastle job as well. Fonseca is the favourite for this job, but you just wonder if Paulo Fonseca for some reason was just one of a number of candidates. If they did ask him, would it be one of those jobs you just jump at because of the money that's been touted?
Yeah, well, everybody's given their views on why he wouldn't, why he should. It'd be interesting to see the new owners, what the criteria is. Is it a well-known manager? Is it somebody who's done it? Is it an up-and-coming young manager? What is the CV for this job? I certainly think he's got a reputation down in England as being one guy who's heading for the top, and as soon as you say heading for the top, you think Liverpool. But I don't know if he's going to step right into a Liverpool job for Rangers. No disrespect to where we are in Scotland, but we all know the way people think down in England. It doesn't matter what you do up here. If you want a treble, it's still not up there with whatever they do down in England. So he's got the credentials for it. Anything I've seen of him up here with Rangers has been spot on. Everything he's done, I can't really find any faults in anything he's done. So if it's
can't find any faults in anything that the manager's done.
Not big faults. Everybody's saying, okay, he's only won 1 cup in 9, something like that.
Is that not a fault?
Not really, no, because if you ask the Rangers supporters, are they a better team now than what they were before he came? I think the answer to that is yes. Are they playing better football? Yeah. Have they got better players? Yeah. It just depends on what these new owners are looking for. And he is on the up eventually. He's not going to be with Rangers a long time. It just depends on the Premiership is where you want to be and where they all want to be. So I think it's his decision. Does he think that this is a stepping stone? Because at the end of the day, I think we all know he wants to be the manager of Liverpool.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm asking you if 1 trophy in 9 is not something that should be digested, I think if Steven Gerrard wins the league with Rangers this season, Tam, I think that's real kudos, because that's where the Rangers board and the fans know there's a straight entry into the Champions League group stage, and it's 40 odd million. But I give you this scenario, Tam. Brendan Rodgers, many people were touting for big jobs, but sometimes the train doesn't stop at the station at the exact time you want, so you have to jump, and that's why he decided, I got to get out now, I'll go to Leicester. Yeah,
but I don't know if he could be, coaxed away from Leicester, because I'm guessing he's a Leicester fan through and through, and he supported them if he was a wee boy and all that. If there's any Leicester fans watching, maybe they fell for that as well.
Yeah,
but no, I was on when you talk about Gerrard though, Steven Gerrard or Gerrard, I made him quite posh there.
Yeah.
Was that all right? I read last week at Newcastle were saying they were only going for an out of work manager. Is that not correct?
Listen, treat everything a board says with a pinch of
salt. Why not wait a week and go for Stephen Glass then?
Yeah.
BBC, man.
Exactly, I know. Exactly.
I know we're going to talk about that later. I can't wait. I'll bite my tongue until then.
Yeah, absolutely. Hang on.
But you know what? To be serious though, Newcastle, if they suddenly became 2 weeks ago the richest club in the world, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They're the richest club in the world. They're not going to muck about in the managerial front. They will just go. They will just dangle that very, very large carrot in front of a top manager's bugle, and he'll be away, and that'll be it. But fascinating to see who they get though.
Yeah, Bob White says, Peter, how could any manager not take the Newcastle job? It's just too good to be true. I think you're absolutely right on that one. Lots of people have their own thoughts on it. But to be perfectly honest with you, whoever gets it, they're going to have some kitty to spend.
Oh.
Give or take, of course, the odd investigation into who's paying the money, where's it all coming from. But nevertheless, I don't know about you, Ruffy, but we've somehow managed to get quickly onto the Newcastle job from Steven Gerrard. But I don't think there's any morals in football and business when it comes to, certainly not when it comes to football in the Premier League in England. There are many clubs where you could investigate some of the people that are owners and the countries that they hail from and their record in human rights.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I don't know who all the owners are of the English Premiership, but I'd love to know what percentage are, home-based, owners.
Yep.
I think it'd be very, very little. And I just think that's the way the game's going. It's money now, and you've put me onto that Moneyball film.
Yeah, did you watch it?
I watched it. Yeah, and
did you like it?
I did. I really did like it. I liked the way it works. No,
he's in the same place as Goose and Top Gun.
Yeah.
By the way, talking to Saudi Arabia, is it okay if I wish my Saudi Arabian pal Ahmed a happy 80th birthday? 80 today, Ahmed. He played against Scotland in 1989 Under-16 World Cup.
Absolutely.
There'll be people going like 69, 62.
Absolutely. I remember that well, Tom.
They were at it, weren't they?
Listen, never any doubt. We had a team that was well worthy of winning that final. Anyway, apart from how we managed to get on to Saudi Arabia and politics of it all, I'll never know, but who knows who's going to get that Newcastle job. As far as we're concerned, I think Rangers will win comfortably as well. I think a couple of goals in it.
Yeah, I think if they score early enough, I mean in the first 15 minutes, I think they could run maybe 2-3 3-0 winners.
Yeah, were you going to say run right, 2-3-0?
No.
I haven't quite gauged what your comfortable win is, Ruffy. 3-0 is a sacking for a manager, and then you go back on it. 2-0 is comfortable, is it?
No, well, I sat last Friday night with you at Hamilton, and we were winning 4-1, and I still wasn't comfortable. 4-0 really.
Oh, talking of being comfortable, your Long Johns, you were going to tell us a story.
I don't know if Peter would want me to tell that story.
Well, come on. You might as well tell it now anyway.
Well, we were going up to Dundee and it was -4 or something, and he said to me, get your Long Johns. And I'd never been in an outside broadcast ever. I thought I may as well get a pair of Long Johns. So I went into town and I bought a pair of Long Johns. Never tried them on.
Hold on a second. No. I have to deal in the facts first.
All right.
I said get a pair of Long Johns to keep his legs warm, right? And then you can get the separate top.
Aye.
Okay?
Oh, so he bought the all-in-one.
I bought the all-in-one and put it on and felt chuffed to bits as I left to go to Dundee. I went to Dundee, everything was great. I was so warm, it was unreal for the first half, and then unfortunately at half time I needed to go to the loo.
Oh dear.
Peter's exact words, you've only got 10 minutes. If you're not back in 10 minutes when we start, we're in serious trouble.
Right.
I never thought when I get down to the toilets there'd be a queue.
Oh.
I eventually got in and obviously trying to find the opening.
Yes.
I couldn't find it. There was no opening.
Right.
Which was a bit of kerfuffle as the clock ticked down. So as I came back and I sat down, he went, we're a minute on air and it was great, and he goes, what's that smell?
Oh dear.
Honestly.
Right, that's enough.
Honestly, nothing worse. I could write them off. I could write a book on having Ruffy at games.
It's funny though how you associate. I mean, to me, Long Johns means Inverurie Locos, because that's the one. It's the only time I've worn Long Johns, and they were advised as well by some of my pals that I sat at Fir Park races. I'll get them. They're absolutely brilliant. And hang on, don't forget, it was Mark McGee's first time in charge at Motherwell, first spell, and Inverurie Locos in the cup up in Inverurie. It was like kind of late January, early February, and it was absolutely Baltic. But see, I'll tell you, that's how my advice to Rangers fans tonight: get the long johns, they do keep you warm. But I put mine on in the morning, and I had to go into the BBC for a meeting in the morning, and honestly the sweat was running out of me. These things were amazing, right?
And they don't do short meetings there.
When I had them on at night,
Tightly or try to sack somebody.
when I had them on at night at the Inverurie Locos, and I know you're meant to patronise and be dead nice to wee clubs like that and treat them like the cuddly toys of football, but worst place ever for watching a game. There was no elevation for the fans. See, in your studio, it was just all flat, whether you're behind the goals or round the side or whatever, and try to see the game, it was awful, but I was toasty. So it's advice, because it's Baltic when you come in the other day.
It's the first day when there was a bit of ice on the car windows. So.
Alan Preston, when he's doing the BBC stuff, you'll have seen him, he takes a wee heater.
Yeah, Roddy Forsyth does that.
Murdo MacLeod used to take like a wee, I don't know what it would be used for normally, but it was like a wee kind of a heated pad.
Yeah.
And he'd just sit on that,
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of good tricks.
There's a lot of good tricks, but Long John's is the key to it all. And then the top as well, Ruffy, keeps you warm. What are you laughing at now? You thought it's something else?
I just thought it's something that keeps you warm, but I better not talk about it.
No, don't go for it. Okay. Anyway, apart from Rangers Brøndby, there's West Ham against Genk, which is fantastic because we always like David Moyes to do well. West Ham top the group with 6 points from 2 games, so they're in good fettle as well.
Yeah, and I hope he gets this one. It'd be great to see West Ham in Europe as well, going quite far. When we're talking about the English clubs, we're always talking about Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal. It'd be great for West Ham, and he's really turned that around. It's absolutely amazing. And I keep on saying, particularly with the owners that he's got, because they've not got a track record of being loyal, but he's done everything right. There can't be anybody complaining with what he's done since he went in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we've got lots to talk about. We've discussed Rangers in Europe. We've got Aberdeen really at the forefront of everybody's discussions this week, bearing in mind the comments from Dave Cormack backing his manager who's under fire. We'll be talking about Celtic, Hearts looking for top spot in the table. You can post a message to us. We'll be reading out quite a number of your messages as well. If you download the app, you can hit submissions and type something right away and we'll get right back to you. So with that in mind, Niall says, "Hi Peter, can you ask Tam what his thoughts are on the news that this upcoming Saturday, Motherwell and Dundee United will be wearing their away kits every time the two teams meet? It's to avoid a possible kit clash."
Right, well I've got thoughts on this in general terms. As you know, I've told you before, I'm really badly colourblind. Right, really, I had to stop playing the piano. Yeah. Right, it's really bad. Yeah. So I hate the worst fixture for me. If they were both wearing their home tops in Scottish football, Aberdeen against Dundee, I really struggle with that. Whatever it is that's going on with my eyes. Okay,
red and blue.
See if I need it almost gives you a migraine. You need to just switch off.
They wear their home kits.
Yeah. It's really bad. Anything that's dark, two dark kits together. Now the bottom line though is, if Motherwell and Dundee United wore their traditional strips, if you think back to the famous 1991 Cup final, of course, they could have done it there as well, but Dundee United were all white, you may recall,
I remember it.
And we were allowed orange strips. So again, are there no contracts in place and deals in place that you have to wear the second strip or even the third strip a certain amount of times a season to please the sponsor? So I don't know, but it's a good bit of detail for Niall. But it's something that fans always love talking about, but I don't see that being a clash. But I'm just trying to think, Peter, have we ever? Because I did go back there 30 years to 1991. I wonder, I'm trying to think of a clash, a league clash, Motherwell Dundee United. Have we ever both worn our home kits?
In a game? Oh, you will have in the 1970s, Motherwell had the big band across the front, so... in the 70s...
but what they didn't have across the front then as well was a sponsor's name.
No.
Back then as well, so again...
That's another thing. But the other thing about it as well is in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't as commercially fierce as it is now. So everything's to try and earn a shekel and get the fans to buy the away strips. Incidentally, what was your favourite away strip?
Favourite away strip?
Yeah.
Motherwell's.
Yeah.
I did like the son about particularly if it was a midweek game. when we're a kind of white one. You're asking a guy again, I'm telling you about my colour blindness, that's a shocking question.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Don't worry,
you're
we'll
colour blindest.
We'll have an inquiry.
But when we get a real kind of almost luminous white, and you're up a floodlit game, it does look very, very smart.
Yeah, okay. Ruffy, did you have a favourite?
I'm always all white. I think Real Madrid all white looked absolutely magnificent. And any of the
from
teams
the outfield players, because you would very rarely wear.
No, we were
green
or yellow. Green or yellow, that was it.
Because your strip, if it was all white, it'd have been black at the end of it, because you're always diving about trying to keep the score decent. Also, Andy in Auckland, New Zealand says, "What's your thoughts on the SPL Cinch versus Rangers case?" Well, it's an ongoing case, Ruffy, so it's very difficult to talk about it. What they're doing at the moment is just battering each other with lawyers, just to try and win the odd round until we get to the ultimate decision on whether this Cinch deal, Rangers are going to have to bow to the sponsor and put them on the boards and put them on the strips. Whether they do or not, what happens after that, I do not know. It's just an indication of where this country and where the clubs are at the moment.
Yeah, and I think from the outside looking in, I mean, I can see Rangers' point, I can see the SFA's point, but from us looking in, we're just saying, look, hurry up and sort this out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's becoming a bit boring now. It's dragging on. Rangers have got every right to go into this next court meeting with an equal say, so let's see how it pans out and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that will make it not boring is if suddenly Cinch say, well, listen, you've been bickering that much, we're out. Thank you very much. The contract's ripped up, and then
all the clubs are doing about £400.
Absolutely, they all suffer. Maybe not to £400. Roy Spears says, "Charlie Adam for man of the match on Saturday against the Jambos. It is one match I'm really looking forward to, I have to say." Tommy,
he was great against Aberdeen.
Oh, he was
just you know, it's like, I love that. You know, we've spoken about it for years on the radio, and it's probably been years since we've seen that. You're talking about who are the players. Is there still such a thing as a player who gets you out your seat? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe
is
the
Charlie
last
one of those players?
I just think you could maybe just conjure up something, you know, and you think, right, he's looking for a pass, or he's, you know. Do
you know who I always think of? You know, players like that. Frank Sosie.
Right, aye.
He came into the game, and I always used to look and think, oh, I can't wait for him to get on the ball. He'll do something outrageous.
Aye.
You know, it was
and
just
when McFadden just suddenly appeared from nowhere at Fir Park, it was great. He just went through that incredible period where every time he got the ball at his feet, there was a genuine buzz around the stadium. You thought something's going to happen. To be fair, I think we Kyogo just now at Celtic, I think I would say he's a bit like that.
I'll tell you, another person that we were talking about the other week, it's a good point that you make, Tam, is Russell Latapi.
Oh, aye.
I thought he was a great player for that. You just loved watching him.
Yeah, I thought in his heyday, at his peak, I thought Aidan McGeady.
Yeah, McGeady, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, Celtic one, the guy I did openly at a Q&A night with Stuart McCall when he was Motherwell manager. I almost begged him in front of Motherwell fans to try and get Paddy McCourt on loan for Celtic. Paddy never scored a bad goal. He was an absolute entertainer, but they never seemed to fancy him at Celtic. It was very, very sporadic appearances, you know, and I thought it'd be great. Imagine he would just put fans on the gate right away.
Well, the only problem with Paddy, great lad that he is, couldn't play the 90 minutes. Just wasn't fit enough.
Well,
But to be fair, you know, at Motherwell you would have taken, 10 minutes of Genius Gets fans going home and talking about it.
I'll tell you what though, maybe Paddy could have got there because this was nearly the first ever sort of broadcasting show I've ever done without mentioning Davy Cooper. So I better mention him now, because the bottom line was when we signed Coop in 1989, there was a lot of folk thought that, if we got a half a game out of him and stuff like that. And I think his first 2 seasons, he was an ever-present.
Yeah.
You know, it was quite incredible. I think maybe the second season at the very end he gets subbed when we were playing Airdrie, if I remember correctly, and that was that. But again, might have been the same with Paddy McCourt. Match fitness might just have really got him there, you know.
Yeah. I thought our friend John Gagan's best line was when he said he used to get supporters out their seat, is when they come in during the game and saw he was on the team lines. They all got him left.
And to be fair, John does himself a great disservice because he was a really good player. I liked him at Motherwell.
Not as big a disservice as Ruffy did there, mate. Can I just say that's no one of John's best lines. I was ranked. John's got a lot better than that.
Absolutely. Tommy the Tailor says, "Hi Peter and co. With the Goldson situation, do you see Rangers bringing back Katic in January?" Of course, there's a lot of, again, who's got the real insight in this? Can Katic be bought in January, or will he be brought back by Rangers? Is there a future for him at Rangers, or is that the end for him? Goldson, it's all in the player's favour, because in January he can sign a pre-contract if Rangers don't sit down with him.
Yeah, it was a strange one reading it this morning, that I'm saying I don't know what's happening, I haven't heard from anybody in my ages, no heard from anybody, and blah blah blah. And you would think with January looming up with him at that stage of his contract, that conversations would be happening immediately, because the supporters think he's a mainstay in the team. He has been a mainstay with the supporters, and I just find it totally baffling that they're not actually talking to him. But that's what we're reading.
Yeah.
Obviously things could be happening behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah, listen, another thing about it as well is, Rangers might be in a situation where they say to themselves, well, we're going to wait and assess things. If they win the league, then suddenly you get much more money to buy, again, a calibre of player that Steven Gerrard would want to take Rangers on to another level.
Aye, yeah, and then in case somebody missed that earlier, Peter, you're right. Some folks still don't realise that if you win the league this year in Scotland, straight into the group stages of the Champions League.
It's 30.
Wow.
People are saying 30 million, it's closer to 40 million. Banked, boom, there you are. Graham Hayes taking exception with you, Tam. He says, I played with McFadden at Motherwell Youths, then against when he was at Celtic North West Park. Celtic North, then West Park. He was a beast at 13 to 16 year olds. He didn't come from nowhere, Tam. I don't think he suggested he came from nowhere.
No, he came from nowhere. What happened was when we'd gone into administration, Terry Butcher's hand was forced a bit about who he could bring in, and guys like McFadden, Stephen Pearson were kind of chucked into the mix, and that's what I meant by that. He just exploded. He probably wouldn't get his chances early if we hadn't had the personnel problems.
Yeah, great show, says Stuart Nelson in Melbourne. I watch every morning down here in Melbourne. It's all good, but I'm especially looking forward to Ruffy's special, which is coming up, Ruffy Thistle Celtic League Cup final. Yourself and Alec Ray. It's going out this Friday on the programme, and if you can, come up with a little bit of magic, then on Monday we'll give away a signed Partick Thistle retro strip from 1971, signed by the entire 11 that started.
Yes.
Are they all?
Yeah, we're fine. Unfortunately, there's a couple won't be there, but we can hold off till we get these things.
Yeah.
And I'll see as much more things that I can throw in, like souvenir programme. There's a book coming out. There's tons of things.
So is that a Partick Thistle goodie bag?
Yeah, there's a replica medal of the actual.
So we get all that.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Yeah,
Ruffy, you are a top man, by the way. Write that down, Tam. Finally, 10 years, Ruffy contributes something to the competitions. That's fantastic. Anyway, he says, I was 10 years old at the time, the only Celtic supporter in a Rangers household, says Stuart. And every week my dad and I would go to a match. Now this is interesting, Tam. Sometimes junior games, Renfrewshire, Ayrshire, to watch my older brothers play. Sometimes we'd watch a local team, Johnston Borough. And obviously they would catch other games like Celtic beating Leeds United. Wow, what a game to go to.
What was the crowd that night?
It was 136,505.
And even then they reckon that was just an estimate. They reckon there was more.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did say, Ruffy, that he watched two games involving Thistle, a 2-1 win for Rangers at Ibrox, and the League Cup final at Hampden. He was there watching Partick Thistle win 4-1. Well done to you, Stuart. So he says, I still thought when Thistle had 4 goals that there was going to be a comeback and Celtic might bang in 5, he says, but sadly it didn't happen. But he says, I'm glad now to have been at such a memorable game with my dad. He can say I was there in Thistle's moments of glory.
Yeah, I would say I would love to throw it to some of the elderly Rangers supporters, and that story that's going about that there was Rangers supporters left their game to catch the second half at Hampden. I'd love to know if that. I'd love to know if that was a true story. So can you believe that?
No,
I can't believe that either. They might have listened to it on the radio or whatever, but I can't imagine them saying, "Right, come on, let's go to Hampden and see the end of this." I think that's just a wee made-up story. That.
Yeah, absolutely. It adds to the glamour of the whole thing of you guys winning it. Aberdeen, here we are. For the one thing, I mean, Stephen Glass is delighted that obviously he's got the backing of the chairman, but I think he feels, and the chairman, and maybe all the players, and maybe the fans as well, there's some kind of agenda against Aberdeen.
I think the good thing for supporters of our club is they saw how passionate the chairman is about the situation at the club. The belief that he's got and the people that he's got in here, including the group of players, which is important too. So to me, that was important. To me, it was nice. But the be all and end all is getting results on a football pitch, and I'm fully aware of what happens if that doesn't happen. There's people that want to push that agenda a little bit quicker. They'd probably rather that we don't get the results.
Well, to be fair, I'm not going to talk about other broadcasters and the line of questioning or
well,
well, no, because quite simply, everybody's got the right to ask questions, say things about Aberdeen based on performances, Tam. I think there's no agenda from either the BBC where you work or any other one, especially not, in the papers and the likes of ourselves, because we judge things on results.
Absolutely. The only agenda, to talk about an agenda against Aberdeen, the only thing it is against Aberdeen is results. And that's 10 games now, is it?
Yeah,
they've not had a win.
They've lost their last 5, 8 defeats, 2 draws in the 10 games, 18 goals conceded and 8 scored. I mean, it's not, you can't make it up. It's
and you know
dreadful.
what as well, see, even if we get right down to it, because this is something we laugh about, last week when he was presenting Sports Sound instead of Richard Gordon, who was on holiday, big Kenny McIntyre, and we always have a laugh with Kenny. We're on the radio, of course, nobody can see. Kenny was 2 studios away through the glass. I'm kidding on him, saying, Kenny, and I must say, that new 150th anniversary Rangers top, it does look like smashing it, And I'm saying, no, you should have got the long sleeves so we can't see your I Love Barry tattoo and all that, right? We wind him up daft about being a big Rangers man, and it's all great fun and all that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong then, but there is no love lost between Rangers fans and Aberdeen, the teddy bears and the sheep, if you like.
Yeah.
So, why would there be an agenda against Stephen Glass or Aberdeen for Kenny McIntyre, who, if you follow my logic, would be hoping that they would get pumped and they'd say, I want you to stay in the job forever. Keep getting beat. This is great. I'm enjoying it. It's a nonsense. It's just they need to get better results. And Dave Cormack, fair play to him for coming out. I mean, the interview the other night, it was a tremendous listen. It was really, really feisty. Anybody that's not heard it, I'm sure he can still get the podcast. But it was great. But, Stephen Glass was clearly Dave Cormack's man. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And, when Dave Cormack came out and said, everybody's changed their tune now, what's this effect? Everybody's changed their tune. You were all so excited when Stephen Glass came in. I don't remember that at all.
No.
I don't remember. I thought folk were just saying, this is a wee bit left field.
Well,
I wonder
Tom,
how this is going to pan out.
I don't know if you can remember this, but at the start, when he's talking about people getting excited, he was talking about, when they were starting to rack up the results. Do you remember, Ruffy, when they had the 5-1 win? And I'm just going to check here. They had a 5-1 win in Europe, and everybody was absolutely salivating, about Aberdeen, and it was going to be a big season for them. They had a 5-1 win, and I turned around to you and I said, there might be a bit of hysteria going on here, because calm down, it's Hacking. Mm-hmm. It's Hacking, 5-1 against Hacking, and the place was going bananas, and I'm thinking, calm your jets, it's not exactly the cream of Europe.
I think the bottom line of the whole thing is it 10 games without a win?
Yeah.
If Steven Gerrard had 10 games without a win and Ange had 10 games without a win, we'd be sitting here discussing the same thing as the Aberdeen manager.
If Ange Postecoglou had 8 defeats and 2 draws, then people would be saying he's out the door. You got it. It's a terrible start. Wim Jansen had 2 defeats at the start of his game. They wanted him sacked. They were calling. Some people were calling for his head. Not the logical people who can look at things.
Motherwell get knocked out the League Cup with Dundee, and the fans were wanting Graham Alexander flamed. And then we started rattling up results.
But by the way, Dave Cormack, without anybody in the media being precious, Dave Cormack has every right to back his manager.
Of course,
I can't be arsed. But anyway, this whole siege mentality, this whole Aberdeen thing of everybody's got an agenda against them, that's been done. Fergie's done that. The whole thing is, just look at your results. Just, look at the way the team's playing. The back line's murder, Tom.
Yeah. Back line's murder, and when they get the ball into the final third, it seems that they can't score goals. They've had plenty of possession in games. I believe it was the same again against Dundee the other night. I don't know how many American viewers would indeed have bought into that and thought, yeah, where can we see more of this Aberdeen side? You know, because that was a strange one. I did like the idea of them playing at 6 o'clock at night. I think for the fans' perspective, I don't think 6 o'clock on a Saturday night is that bad. I think it's pretty decent. And then, particularly if you continue your evening with the pals you're at the game with, you know, etc., etc. But, you know, no, Aberdeen, I saw them at Fir Park, and I saw them having to do the walk of shame, walking up into the south stand with the Aberdeen fans baying for blood at the end. Maybe somebody should just, instead of it being about Dave Cormack, Stephen Glass, the BBC, Kenny McIntyre, you know, just turn it around to the Aberdeen fans and say, what do you think about this? You know, fans will always be very honest, because the thing that I told you before we came on air, and I'll advise the viewers here to go and check it out as well, but 3 people today already have sent me it. They had a Q&A at Falkirk in a local hotel with the entire board, the management team, everybody there that, you know, was in the firing line, packed out hall of Falkirk diehards, and oh boy, it's pretty tasty. We've got an 18 certificate if it was out as a movie, and it's movie length. I think it's 1 hour 42 minutes worth, and I've only seen wee bits and bobs of it, but I'm going to sit back tonight, watch it. Looks terrific.
Yeah, I'll do what Ruffy does, just forward it to the good bits and see where we go. I'll tell you one man who's getting a lot of positivity, and rightly so, is Robbie Nielsen, because Hearts could go top of the league if they can defeat Dundee on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Hearts supporters have deserved this for a long, long time. They put so much into the club. Obviously, Anne Budge has to get a mention as well. And where they are just now is where they said they were going to be if they got their house in order, and they've done everything properly. And I think it's good. I said this right at the season. It's good having the Hearts. Hibs get beat last week. We need a challenge in Scottish football. We can't keep having Rangers and Celtic 26 points ahead, 20 points ahead. We need them to go. We need Rangers and Celtic to go to Tynecastle or go to Easter Road. And I throw Aberdeen into it as well, because they will eventually get their act together. And going to Pittodrie was always a hard game for them as well. So, and I think it's good for everybody if these teams can take points off the big two.
And hey, can you imagine for everything that happened to Hearts, right, being relegated, which was criminal in my book, you know, if the football gods are looking down, you're talking about there being a wee upset and no being Rangers or Celtic. Can you imagine if everything that happened to Hearts, if this was the year when they came so close, 1986, if this was the year that they won the league after being in the Championship and going straight into that Champions League group?
Yeah. Oh, Tam,
what a story that would be.
I suggested that maybe James Anderson could put the money in. If they're up the top of the league in January, maybe he'd fire in a few quid, 5-10 million, buy players, and then just go for it for one season only. Shot down in flames by McManus, was having none of it. Charlie Adam kicked me out into left field. But listen, what a shot in the arm it would be for the whole of Scottish football.
A great investment. I mean, if Hearts were right up there and they thought, you know what, I mean, there they go. They beat Celtic already. They got the draw at Ibrox, and the eve of that game, my firm belief was, and it wasn't trying to like kind of wind Hearts up to, you know, to spirit a performance out of them. Like we were just saying on the radio that if Hearts do have any ambition this season, then they have got to go to places like Ibrox and pick up points, and that's exactly what they did. So they're looking good. No, I would have backed you there. Forget Charlie Adam or Tam McManus. I think that's a great shout, Peter. If they were up there, and the money that James Anderson fella's got, you know what I mean? You know, and I think 3-4 players, top players in January, and let's have a go.
Yeah, if I had the money, if I had the money James Anderson had, Ruffy, I would. If it was me, and I was James Anderson, and I'm looking at the Jambos, and say they're within touching distance in January, I'd be like that, bang, here, let's have it. Let's really put the frighteners up, it would be great.
But you know what would happen? As soon as he gives them 5 million, Rangers and Celtic will spend 10 million.
Where are they going to get it from?
If they think they're that near.
If they get as
I'd love to see it happen. I'd love to see Hearts winning the league. I think it'd be great for Scottish football.
Although with James Anderson being a philanthropist, you know, it tends not to be for 4 players to come in if I hope we win the league. You'd much sooner give it to, grassroots football or a hospital or
Okay,
something.
bring in 4 kids, let's see how they do.
If you had James Anderson's money as well, you wouldn't be wearing a tarp that's covered in paint. Look at that.
Yeah, well, do you know...
Well, what is it? Is it Stewart? It's a bit of Stewart.
It's a bit of Stewart, and the reason for that is because in the office we're trying to make it brighter, so the staff just outside the studio can see clearer, Ruffy. I was trying to do them a turn, but the dust is all over the place. Anyway, apart from anything else, Robbie Nielsen says this is a big chance to lay down a marker.
Yeah, as we spoke about it after the game, after Ibrox, knowing that obviously Rangers don't play until the Sunday, so it gives us a chance to, put a wee marker down. Out with, the Old Firm, they're probably the next teams will look at for their first games of the season. So we know that the situation we're in, teams are going to be the first one to beat us, so it's up to us to make sure that it's not next week and it's not the week after.
Yep, Hearts Dundee. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm going to nip through to that, Tam, and then I'll spend the evening with yourself a little later on at night in East Kilbride.
Yeah, a wee Italian restaurant. Just the two of us.
We're on a night out, Ruffy. Calm your jets.
You've just seen Robbie there. I was away last week on my travels. We were back up in Ely. It was absolutely stunning. So I didn't have the chance to tell you this, but I'd spoken to Robbie Nielsen and Lee McCulloch. I've known Lee since he was a boy. He was obviously a youngster at Motherwell and that. Yeah. But they were saying, I don't know if they actually did it, but they said maybe that's how they got the draw. They said that they were going to, before the game, they tell us they were going to, when they go to Ibrox, unsettle Steven Gerrard when they're on the technical areas by waving their championship medals at him.
Yeah,
I don't know if they did. It wasn't caught in camera anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. Celtic, Jota. I noticed the Benfica fans are slightly miffed that this little story's come out that Celtic have a 6.5 million option on buying Jota, which I think a lot of Benfica fans are looking thinking this boy had potential, and the last thing they want to see is, ripping it up here. Celtic's just nipping in there, and right now on the evidence of what he's doing, 2 goals in the last 3 games, countless assists, he looks as if he could be a snip at 6.5 million.
Yeah, it looks as if it's backfired in Benfica. Benfica are a massive club, and they've obviously thought the boy wasn't ready enough for them, so we'll farm him out and get him back a better player. But obviously that option puts everything in Celtic's favour. I mean, they haven't spent 6.5 for a wee while, Celtic, so that'd be the big one. But everything he's done so far justifies that they have a player there that they might be just to take that up very, very quickly and get him before there's anything else happening.
I don't know about you, but Ruffy, I mean, the pass through for Kyogo's goal against Ferencváros was absolutely top drawer, and he looks as if he's got a trick. The reason why Celtic, I think, look a different side going forward is because they've got wingers and they're getting the crosses in. They've got that pace as well, but they've got players that can pick passes.
Yeah, I mean, we keep repeating ourselves on the show. They are exciting to watch in the latter third, and any team that comes up against them, as soon as you allow them possession in midfield and they get the ball wide to these 2 guys, and if there's a decent striker in the middle, he's going to fill his boots. Yeah. With decent balls coming in there, and lo and behold, if Celtic do eventually maybe play with 2 out-and-out strikers, I mean, it must be fantastic to watch, but as long as they stop conceding, that's the main thing.
And the other thing as well is if they could play with 2 out-and-out central defenders, Tam, they wouldn't lose goals.
Well, that's the thing. I'm gutted. I mean, Motherwell, we didn't lay a glove on them at Fir Park, and no shots on target, and that must be a first. Do carry on. I hate when you're having a cough and they just stare at you instead of being the consummate professional and turning into Ruffy. Dearie me.
Well, can I tell you something? Do you know why I should have actually just jumped in there? Just on the basis, Ruffy, that if ever I was out somewhere in the commentary and I was going through a coughing fit, he would look at me and say, I wonder if Peter's going to make it through this when I pass away. Are you worried about Dundee United?
I'm worried about this cough. Forget Dundee United. No, you know what? Yes, because I've got mixed feelings about this. I was actually, for the outset, in fact, away at the start of the season, I think I said it in this programme, I couldn't believe the flack Tam Courts had got, or Thomas Courts as I believe he likes to be called now. I couldn't believe, there was an email went about or something like that his name's actually Thomas, and now that sometimes you hear it Tam, others Thomas, you can Google it later, right? But the guy was getting this incredible flack when he was appointed and everything, as if it was only a matter of time before he was going to get sacked and all the rest of it. So for the outset, I was really wishing him well. I didn't have a dug in the race, of course. It's Dundee United we're talking about, but I was hoping he would do well. But he has done well, and it's a toughie for us at the weekend. There's absolutely no doubt about it. As I say, we need to take a different approach than we did against Celtic. I do think, just before I started coughing, I was going to say we're one of the few clubs certainly that have failed to score against Celtic this season. Dundee as well, yeah. But to have 0 shots on target when you've got the weakest part of the Celtic team obviously being their defence, I thought we'd have had more of a go.
So did I agree with you, Tam. A couple of things I want to get your guys' thoughts on as well, which is interesting. David, who's obviously downloaded the app, and he posts messages to us and his comments. He says, what about Manchester United last night? Peter, what a player. Ronaldo again saves the day. Not so sure about the manager at Old Trafford. I personally don't think he's the man to take the Manchester club forward. That's from David in Airdrie. David, I agree with you. Ruffy, I watched the game last night. Here's how Manchester United 2-0 down, and then suddenly the fight back in the second half, which was incredible. It was a great game to watch, and Ronaldo is just...
What was the reaction at half time for the fans?
Booed him.
Was it really loud?
It was incredible. But you couldn't help but boo them because... No, I just don't get a game plan from United. I've read 2 books.
Good for you. How many have you read, Ruffy?
No, but
the bees are the Beano.
I read. You've always, the one thing you can't have in a night with him is a comma and a pause before he jumps in. But I've read 2 books on Manchester United, which I think sum it up about the ethos and the blueprint in United. One was Patrick Barclay talking about Sir Matt Busby. Did a great book on him. And how he put the team together. And the other one is, of course, Sir Alex Ferguson. And the 2 of them, honestly, cut from the same cloth, because quite simply, United are built on wingers, but they're built on a solid foundation at the back. I don't see any style in them whatsoever. It's almost as if he goes out and says, oh, just, go out and enjoy yourself. And by the way, see the special players, you do something special to win the game. But the back line's just a catastrophe.
Aye. Do you think he'll get punted?
Eventually, I do think.
Is he only there still because he's a bit of a legend himself at the club?
Well, absolutely. I mean, listen, if you've got a guy like Ronaldo, he's buying him. For me, he's buying him time. I mean, even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last night, couldn't stop praising the number 7.
He even was down on inside his own 6-yard box and blocked towards the end, defending. You can see him sprinting. He did everything a centre forward should be doing, leading the line and defending. So, and of course the goal is just what he does better than most.
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't help but praise him. But Ruffy, I think I'm like a number of people. We've got one of our producers, a Man United fan. He goes down regularly. I think the clock's ticking.
Yeah, and last night the clock might have ticked if Ronaldo hadn't scored that goal, because you could see by the noise coming for the side that they need to be doing well in Europe. They need to be doing a lot better. And if we were talking about teams who are going to win that Champions League, they're going to be nowhere near it. And it's amazing, when the Pogba's and all that and Ronaldo's. You're right, there's a jigsaw there that hasn't been fitted, and I've said it all along, I know they have got a decent centre-half now, but they went on for years and years and just relied on all the flair players to win them games, and forgetting about shutting up the back, and now they're getting fun out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here's how that United result fitted into all the other Champions League results from last night. Salzburg 3-1 winners over Wolfsburg. Barcelona just edging it. A PK goal against Dynamo Kiev. Lille and Seville, you couldn't split them. United 3-2. Zenit 0, Juventus 1. Benfica losing out to a rampant Bayern Munich. Lewandowski, as ever, never far away from the goals. Chelsea equally so, 4-0 against Malmo, although it came at a cost. I think Timo Werner and Romelu Lukaku could be out for a few weeks, which I wonder if that will affect Thomas Tuchel's league bid. Certainly a big worry for them. Young boys won Villarreal 4. was the other score there.
Peter, that graphics gave me the fear. I think you need to change that.
Why?
It's just one of the things I'm agitated looking at. The way you've got the goals for each team in the outer margins in each case. I think you need them in the middle.
You want them in the middle?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you fix that?
And there speaks the BBC man who wants a traditional.
Well, you know what? It's at BT Sport Day one. It annoys me as well when they show the groups anything, and they've got the points right away. They've got the point. The points always. It's one drawn, lost, from, away. Then the points, and that kind of scares me as well.
Well, I think we've always got to try and listen to the people who are on here, but shut up with your BBC nonsense.
Over the colour of the studio, the green and the blue.
You're not happy with the red, white, and blue.
Who was it? Who was it? It was a BBC newsreader, and I can't remember which one. It was somebody, it was maybe Katrina Shearer, it was maybe Jackie Bird, I don't know who it was. But the first time they were asked to read out the results that came in, instead of reading the results across the way, they read them down the way. So when they came up as a classified score, they were doing them that way. Oh, and I'd love to see a clip of that.
I am going to defend Katrina. I don't think it'll be her because she's a big football fan.
She's
Katrina.
A big Shotts Bonaccord fan.
Yes. I read that the other day and I thought, that'll be right.
Well, she was on with us at the weekend. She was on Sunday, so I hadn't spoken to her and had a chance live on air.
Yeah.
And the previous time she was on about Shotts Bonaccord. I says, I've been looking at a lot of your social media and your photographs and that. I says, who invested at Shotts Bonaccord? That stadium they've got now that I keep seeing, it's magnificent.
Absolutely.
And they've got a marble staircase and everything. It's stunning. But, so she was exposed. And I thought, you know what? You think, just say who it is you support now. That's ancient guff, all that, innit? When I couldn't possibly say who I support. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's good because it gives you the chance to get more abuse.
You're still a motherable man, aren't you, Peter?
Yeah. By the way, the amount of arguments we used to have pre him coming on the show.
Could you away and come back and tell us exactly how many Aberdeen supporters there is with the BBC?
How many? Well, I could tell you them now. There's Richard Gordon. There's Willie Miller, who's obviously an integral part of the show. Liam McLeod, the commentator.
I don't know why I asked the question.
I think that must be it.
At the end of the day, you can be a supporter.
They have come out and said they are supporters. That's what I mean. They're not hiding behind it.
They're not hiding behind it. The problem is, Ruffy, and I don't want to get down this road. I wish you hadn't asked that stupid question because, quite simply, in pubs and clubs and punters up and down the country, there are a certain level of fans who believe that anybody who is a fan of a club who works in this game as a journalist or a pundit is compromised, which is a nonsense.
The worst one
because
is
it's an insult to the intelligence of the people who actually do their job professionally.
The worst one a lot.
Although there are some who obviously have tinted specs on and are deciding they just want to put the flag up and start waving it about.
The worst one a lot is the referees. Try to find out what team the referees support.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
Listen, there was a couple other things I was going to mention, but you wittered on that much about something that we didn't want to talk about.
Keep going, you can hang on.
A couple of things I was going to say to you is Newcastle were linked with numerous players in the last 24 hours, and they'll be linked with every player that's going for millions. And I was just wondering, the greatest ever Newcastle team, Tam, could be changed dramatically in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, if they really just go for it.
If they go for it.
But in saying that, I'm looking at the team that you've got up there. However, call me an old romantic fool, but when you do see names there like Kevin Keegan and Paul Gascoigne, Ginola, Peter Beardsley, for goodness sake, will they really better that?
Well, I'll tell you, I can't wait to see it. I mean, the 11 that I'd written down that was voted as the greatest ever Newcastle team: Shay Given, David Craig, John Beresford, Bobby Moncur, Philippe Albert, Peter Beardsley, who was brilliant, Gascoigne, David Ginola, Shearer, Jackie Milburn, who was a brilliant goal scorer for them, and Keegan, who's a legend. I'm curious to see how that changes. But the last thing we're going to finish on, guys, and it's about fans and songs. I saw today, Tam, that Liverpool and Celtic's anthem, You'll Never Walk Alone, has now been named as the most popular UK song to be played at a funeral. So it's now You'll Never Walk Alone. What's number 2?
At a funeral?
At a funeral.
My Way.
Yes, My Way.
Bide with me.
Yeah. Abide with
What kind
me.
of funerals you go?
we just go to our mates that
I'll
passed
tell
away.
you, and I hope you don't, but if you come to mine, you'll enjoy it, because the first ever humanist service I went to, it was for Stuart Cosgrove's old Uncle Willie, who effectively brought him up when his dad died when Stuart was only a wee boy. And I'd never been to a humanist funeral before, and when we went in there, the music, it was all the stuff that Willie had danced to in the 50s and 60s at the dance halls.
Yeah.
It was all Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby and Frankie Vaughan, and it was like going to a party, and that's exactly the way you wanted it. It was brilliant.
Are you going that way?
Absolutely.
And the good news is, Tam, Ruffy, what songs have you picked for next year? The Doctor Doom there, eh?
Oh, I don't
No, I've not thought about that.
No,
but you
good.
won't be singing any of these songs where I'm getting right.
Anyway, You'll Never Walk Alone, then it's My Way. Always look on the bright side of life. I can see that. It's Simply the Best, Tina Turner, because there's a lot of...
I wonder who's kissing her now.
that rough. Brilliant. Supermarket Flowers, which is apparently an Ed Sheeran song. I've never heard it. Time to Say Goodbye. The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. I don't get that one. I don't know why. Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Eva Cassidy.
These are all very maudlin.
Yes,
It's as if somebody's died.
Well, exactly. We'll Meet Again by Vera Lynn. And This Is Me by the Showman, the Greatest Showman.
Oh, yeah, right.
The top 5 football songs I'd written down, my favourite 5 football songs, as well as You'll Never Walk Alone, is World in Motion. I don't know if you remember, that was an England one. It was by New Order. I was a big New Order fan. We Have a Dream, which you are actually part of, with the day you were bladdered on top of the Pops and went out with the 2 girls from Tight Fit. Just thought I'd throw that in there, Tam.
Allegedly.
No. It's not all certainty. Blue Is the Colour. Chelsea.
All right, aye.
I'm not a big fan of Chelsea as a club, but I like that song.
I'm going to
It's brilliant.
say I'm forever blowing bubbles. I'm not having that.
No.
That sort of...
Carnival de Paris. I thought was a great
Haunting.
one. Yes. Any that
I'll be very controversial here and go with 2 that you're maybe not meant to like. I still think one of the greatest ever, it's a brilliant tune, is Back Home, the 1970 England World Cup anthem. And I must say as well, as much as we all like laughing and joking about it and taking the mickey out of it and all the rest of it, see if Three Lions, if the whole subject, the whole song, the whole lyrics, everything about it had been transferred into a great Scottish song, that would have been the best ever, because I thought it was brilliant. And as much as we all, but you're meant to hate it in that, I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ruffy. I thought it was a great song.
Yeah, I thought it was a great song. I like the Fratellis, that one they play.
Oh, Chelsea Dagger.
Right, aye.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, we've put some songs together, but I don't think any of them will ever beat the classic 1970s song sung by the Leeds United fans, You're Going Home in a Blue and White Ambulance. It was just an
Lovely.
indication of what's to come during the match.
It was Burt Bacharach that did that, did you know that?
La 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 la. Anyway, on that note, thank you to the countless people who have obviously interacted with us, and especially on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button if you can. Download the app. Ruffy's got that special Partick Thistle bundle we'll be giving away. Coming up this month coming up, we're going to give away an Xbox, we'll give away an iPad, we're going to be giving away some great bits of memorabilia on the show, all the way through to Christmas, to get you in the mood. There, I said at Christmas and we're not even out of October. But lots of prizes and lots more special guests for you to enjoy in one-to-ones.
For an early Christmas cracker, just when I mentioned Burt Bacharach and Sean Connery sitting in a bar, right? And Burt Bacharach says to Sean Connery, says, "Who's your favourite all-time composer?" And Sean Connery goes, "Schubert." And he says, "Well, thanks very much."
Thanks for watching. Good night.